Welcome everyone on this in this season of joy, this season of happiness. I was reminded earlier today, George Carlin said that he understood why Santa was so jolly. It's because he knew where all the bad girls lived. If only I had. A lot of old friends here. So great to see so many people. Many I haven't in a while. Hadn't seen Woody Myers in years. Went over to greet him and thank him, and immediately he, recognized me and said hi. I said, "Woody, that's great of you. We haven't been together in many years." And he said, "Well, to tell you the truth, I'm not that good at faces, but I never forget a suit." Thanks to whoever made the video, that's an unusual experience. Watch yourself age before your very eyes, all in the span of a few minutes. Was it Dorian Gray? What was that? I've now had that experience. Many thanks to the committee who first conceived and then has executed this remarkable, extraordinary, Jim, program, not just tonight, but the entire conception. So to Harry, to Randy, to Earl, all those others on that committee. We said goodbye this last year to a great change agent for Indiana, a great friend of many of ours, Dane Miller. We were reminded at his funeral of Dane's 2 rules of committees, which I have embraced. Rule 1 is, to operate effectively, they must have an odd number of members. Rule 2 is, 3 is too many. But in this case, in this one case, the combined talents of that committee have first of all, devised, John Krause gets a lot of the credit for this, devised and now made real something so truly meaningful, I think, to all of us. And I'll just say this, I could go on at great length, but I think I can sum this up. You saw him and heard him. You saw the video. There is no person with whose name I would rather be associated than Jim Morris. And I'm just so glad he was chosen tonight. And there's no goal I would rather have learned that he had chosen for the application of the funds that committee and all of you have made possible than the one you just heard described by Jim, by my old friend Dave, to eliminate hunger among the children of an entire region. That's one of those bodacious goals we're all encouraged to imagine and then pursue. That's, as some of us used to say, really aiming higher. And I'm just so proud that this was selected. And I'm so grateful to everybody here who's going to help Dave make that beautiful dream real. That's exactly what those of us, and so many are in this room, who came together, it's hard to imagine, it's now over a decade ago, had in mind for our state. We all know about the Indiana farmer who, asked by a lost stranger for direction, said, "Well, I wouldn't start here." Well, we wouldn't have started where we did, but that wasn't our choice. That was our fate. We wouldn't have started there fiscally or ethically or in terms of or operationally. But the most important thing is we wouldn't have started there psychologically. We weren't comfortable with a state in the middle of America that thought middle of the pack was good enough. And we said it over and over and over. for the time that was given to us. That cleaning up a mess wasn't good enough. Being not Illinois wasn't good enough. I got asked again the other day. It happens all the time. Anytime I go near Illinois, somebody reminds me of the time I was on live radio over there and something else had just gone terribly over there, and the DJ was asking me, they love to do this. Oh, you're in Indiana, you're AAA, you're sound, you got businesses moving in, we got businesses moving out. And government works there, doesn't work here. You're honest, we're corrupt. How's that feel? It's live radio. You got to say something, right? I said, well, it's like living next door to The Simpsons. All right, there's a dysfunctional family on the block, and we're looking right in the picture window. But we could have settled for that, but we didn't. Oh, I got to tell you one more. I was invited about 3 or 4 years ago to they had a conference up there about state economic policy. So, Gary, how does a state best bring new jobs and growth and opportunity? And I was supposed to give the wrap-up at noon. And they had a bunch of panels in the morning. One of the panelists was this fella, Jimmy, who founded Jimmy John's Sandwich Shop, very successful operation. He's a big salesman, very effervescent personality. Apparently he tells me all this later, during his panel, he goes off on how, we went over and talked to these people in Indiana. Boy, do they have their act together. They all talk like business people. They were fast. They got right back to us. He said, not only that, the next day, the governor of the state called me. And he talked like a businessman. And before we hung up, he gave me his personal email and cell number. Now, that's the way you do business. So they have a Q&A, and a guy holds his hand up and says, my question is for Jimmy, but Jimmy, first I have to tell you something. Here in Illinois, when they give you the governor's cell number, it means something different. No, the people in this room, I hope I say this on behalf of everybody, we're never prepared to settle for just being better than a neighbor. We never wanted to settle for being less than the best. Within the last few days, I just noticed Indiana got its first AAA credit rating reaffirmed. They opened with the Ohio River bridges, one of those big $2 billion projects they said would never happen in our lifetime. It will transform, it's already transforming the economy of Southeast Indiana. On Saturday morning, all day, 50,000 people took advantage of the opportunity to walk across that bridge on the last day before it was opened. Yesterday I read that another stretch of I-69, long dreamed of in southwestern Indiana, it's already making a huge difference in the lives and possibilities of people there. These and so many other big dreams were the things we came to public service to do. And to those in the room, there's so many of you here, wouldn't have happened without you. I just want to say thanks. But our administration, that whole ethic of public service is still, we have not yet taken or passed our final examination. At the death of Franklin Roosevelt, Walter Lippmann, the legendary columnist, wrote, the final test of a leader, he said, is that he leaves behind in others the conviction and the will to carry on. Now on that, the jury's still out. We will not have been a success. Our time there will have been just a blip, just a positive bump, maybe a Camelot, if we did not somehow find a way to leave in others, in younger people, the conviction and the will to carry on, to demand of themselves and their neighbors the best efforts, the best initiative, the highest standards of any place in America for their children, and for their future. That's where this foundation comes in. When that committee first came to see me and explain what they were up to, that's what attracted me. But that will be the test of whether your participation tonight and the work that flows from it really was worth it or not. The one speech that wasn't excerpted in that video was actually shorter than the video itself. It's my second inaugural speech. I thought it ought to be short. We'd already done this thing once. And I got it in my head to try to beat Lincoln. Lincoln's second inaugural, some of us think, an even finer speech than Gettysburg. This is the with malice toward none speech. Is 708 words long. Well, I didn't quite get there. I missed by 4 or 5 words. I decided that was okay. You can't match his wisdom. You can't match his eloquence, so why should you match his brevity? But it only had one real point, and that was the one I hope I just made, that the real test for Indiana and us as its citizens is whether we can elevate our sights, raise our standards, escalate our ambitions, aim higher on an ongoing basis, or settle back into a complacent sense that good enough is good enough. And if we're going to be the kind of state that we have shown we can be, if we're going to be that for the long term, if we're going to be a state where no child is hungry, if we're going to be a state where no child is poorly educated, if we're going to be a state where every citizen from every income level has a fair shot at a great life, then it's going to take some sustained effort. It won't happen because there was an interlude where we proved we could do it. And this foundation, I just thank the people who thought it up, because they're animated by that very same dream and ambition. And so, as I think I said in that second inaugural, I remember evoking a movie that was then fairly recent. It's the one where the terrorist puts a bomb on the bus and it's going to blow up if it slows down. We can't let the bus slow down. We have to find a way to encourage our leaders, to encourage the young, and to remind ourselves we've shown we can be great. It'll take not 8 years, not one generation, but multiple generations of effort to be great as Indiana deserves to be great. You're committed to that vision, I think, or you wouldn't be here. I thank you for it, and I look forward to many more years of seeing the fruits of your efforts made real through this fantastic organization. Thanks for being here tonight.